Okay, hello, good morning, and welcome to EPLW Gameweek 23 preview show. My name's Joe, and alongside me this morning is Roz. We're going to have a coffee and we're going to chat through this week's fixtures in the EPL. We're going to go through them one by one, and if you like what you're seeing, you can drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Twitter at EPLW Pod also. So, should we get straight to it, Roz?
Let's do it.
Well, how are you first? Let's be cordial.
I'm good. Feeling positive about this week's game fixtures, actually. Got some really cracking matchups there. I can't wait to kind of get stuck into them.
Cool. Okay, without further ado then, let's get on to our first game. We'll start with today's fixtures. Aston Villa Arsenal at 12:30. Aston Villa head coach Dean Smith has reported no new injuries, but it looks like he might freshen up his side after the defeat by West Ham. Bertrand Traore, Mohamed Trezeguet and new signing Morgan Sanson could all start. Arsenal, obviously Leno and Luiz are both suspended after their comical red cards against Wolves on Tuesday. Leno's absence means it'll be Runnison or Ryan. We'll see what happens with Ryan. How do you see this one playing out?
Really interesting game, actually. A couple of months ago, we were talking about Aston Villa, Dean Smith's side, maybe, charging for one of those European places. And we were talking about Arsenal as potential relegation candidates, which I don't think anyone was really taking all that seriously, but it certainly wasn't going well. The Gunners there.
Yeah.
Recently, I would call that Wolves result a bit of an anomaly. You had a few freak incidents, the 2 red cards you pointed to early, and the fact that Arsenal could have been 3 or 4-0 up going in at half-time before that first red card. You've got to say that they changed the game, they flipped it on its head. If you write that one off, then Arsenal are actually still an in-form side. It's a really hard one to call this. It should be a really good game.
Well, last night we had a look, didn't we? When we talked fantasy football last night at length, we talked about this game and we thought it would be won and lost in the midfield. And you kind of, I think did you lean towards Villa and I lean towards Arsenal in this one?
I think so, yeah.
Have your thoughts changed at all? I
was looking at the goalkeeper situation, really. The fact that Leno is out after his great impersonation of Michael Jordan there. Because,
well, it wasn't a great impersonation of Michael.
You've got someone like Matt Ryan, who's been brought in as kind of number 2, third day at Arsenal, and he got injured. So we'll be kind of looking to see if he'll come in there. The other option is Runnison, who was signed as a number 2 goalkeeper, and then Arsenal decided he clearly wasn't good enough, so signed another second choice goalkeeper. So in terms of his confidence, I reckon it must be in the mud, but Arsenal might be stuck with him and have to play him. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Of course, the goalkeeper I think Arsenal would like to have, who I think they were really foolish to get rid of, was Martinez, who will be starting for Villa today.
Yes, absolutely. Since we beat Chelsea, I say we, Arsenal, since Arsenal beat Chelsea on, was it Boxing Day? And the Croydon De Bruyne was introduced to the EPL, Emile Smith-Rowe. This is 8 games since then. We've only lost 1 with Smith-Rowe being in the team. Surely he is going to play a pivotal role, the young gun. What do you make of his performance and how important is he becoming to Arsenal at this early stage in his career?
It's sensational to watch. He's been highly rated for a very long time. Had a decent loan spell at Huddersfield, I think it was last season. And, he's always been kind of on the tip of Arsenal fans' tongues. It's a funny youth academy, isn't it? Because you get these players that are sort of highly rated and they sort of never live up to how good they should be. We saw kind of Theo Walcott when they signed him from Southampton. His career kind of plateaued a bit. You have players like Emmanuel Frimpong, was it Eastman?
Yeah, Craig Eastman. I could list a number.
Players like that are sort of highly rated and never really kind of get there. Emil Smith-Rowe seems to be the real deal. He seems to actually be living up to that potential that's been spoken about for a long time.
Yeah, alongside obviously Bukayo Saka as well. Yeah, what's your prediction for this one then? I've gone 3-1 Arsenal. I think it depends which Arsenal turn up and whether Arteta has instilled that bounce back ability into the Arsenal sort of dressing room. I think he has, and I think we might concede, but I can see us powering through this one. I can see Lacazette, Smith-Rowe, and Saka being key roles in there as well.
I think both teams will score. I think that Aston Villa might just edge it. I'm going to go for 3-2 Aston Villa. Nothing to do with Arsenal's defence. They will do with their goalkeeper.
Okay, and who do you see playing a pivotal role in that? Is that Grealish? I think you mentioned last night.
Jack Grealish, the likes of Trezeguet, Traore. Is Ollie Watkins fit?
Ollie Watkins is, I mean, as fit as there's no reports of any injury concerns around him. So.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how sort of that front four, if you like. I think they could really cause us some problems today.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on then to 3 o'clock. Burnley hosting Brighton and Hove Albion in, what was the derby you called this one?
The We're Not Scared of Anfield
derby. There you go. Two teams who have recently won at Anfield, disrupting Liverpool's title chances. Burnley, 5 players to check on for Burnley. Charlie Taylor, Ashley Barnes, Robbie Brady, Chris Wood and Josh Brownhill, all maybes. So it's a bit of a tough one to predict the sort of team they'll be putting out here. Brighton without Solly March. Joel Veltman, Alexis McAllister, probably a late fitness test for those guys as well. I mean, how do you see this one going?
Interesting. I think that Burnley have actually, if you look at their results over the last month or so, it looks like they've been fairly inconsistent. They beat Aston Villa. They barely touched the ball against Chelsea. I think actually, if you look at who they were playing in all of those games, they beat Liverpool famously. I think their performances have actually been very consistent. I think against Chelsea, they kind of did the best they could against Man City as well. In terms of Brighton, I think they're a better footballing side, and they're both incredibly compact and hard to score against. I think that Brighton might just about out-football them today. I think that there'll be very few goals. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Brighton win.
Okay, 1-0 Brighton. Who do you think is going to be the pivotal player in that? Who's going to be the inspiration behind that win?
I'm going to go, based on his performance against Liverpool, for Dan Burn, the 6'7" left wing back. He's a centre half, but he was deployed there and did a fantastic job. Should have really got an assist.
Okay.
For the goal. So I'm going to say Dan Burn.
So Burn to burn Burnley for you then. I've gone with I see Burnley edging it, to be honest with you. I think they do both defend very well and employ that low block. Brighton do have more going forward, like you say, but I see that playing into Burnley's favour on the home pitch. I think they're probably one of the few teams that's got a better home record than away record, Burnley. I might just be making that up completely, but I think their system is so well drilled to counter attack. I think they'll nick it 1-0, and I think it'll be a Chris Wood header from a corner or from a counter attack. So I'm saying 1-0 Chris Wood if he plays. Okay, next up, Newcastle versus Southampton at St James's Park. Also 3 o'clock kickoff. Federico Fernandez and Jamal Lascelles are out. Jamal Lewis and Paul Dummett are struggling, and Kieran Clark's also a doubt after his partner went into labour. Congratulations to Kieran Clark. Hope everything goes well for you there. Joe Willock will be involved, according to Steve Bruce, following his loan move from Arsenal. And Southampton-wise, Stuart Armstrong's been ruled out by a muscle problem, but Yannick Vestergaard and Kyle Walker-Peters should be fit. Jan Bednarek is available after his red card was rescinded a couple of days ago, and new signing Takumi Minamino could make his debut, but Alexander Jankovic, who was sent off in the midweek 9-0 defeat by Man United, is banned from this one. Did you like my Minamino joke there?
Very good.
Da, 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 da. Minamino. Okay, never mind.
Funny, did you see with Bednarek? Did you see what the statement that the FA put forward about it being rescinded? Did you see that they actually didn't rescind the David Luiz one, which was an incredibly similar incident?
Yes, they did not rescind.
Incredibly similar incident. And there was a prediction of, well, I can't remember who tweeted it, but there was something about the fact that to save face, the David Luiz one flipped the game on its head and actually affected the result. Whereas Bednarek one didn't really affect the result. I think Man United was 7-0 up at the time. So that's a really easy one. Kind of rescind and go, oh yeah, sorry, that was a bit harsh. We do listen, we'll take that red card back. But they didn't do David Luiz one, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, also Southampton went a bit more hardline with their appeal, didn't they? Arsenal appealed for the red cards. Southampton said they didn't want to be refereed by the same referees again. Like it was what's his name, wasn't it? Mike Dean. He loves a red card, Mike Dean. But also the fourth official was Craig Pawson, I think, and they asked not to be refed by either of those officials again.Maybe going in higher, and the FA decided we'll just rescind your red card and be done with it.
Whereas Arsenal just got their captain on the day to make a little bitchy Instagram post, and that didn't really turn up any trees.
Hey, look. I won't have a bad word said against Hector Bellerin. He's a great vice captain. Southampton could equal their top flight record of 5 successive defeats, which happened most recently between May 2005 and September 2012. Work that one out for the stats. That's when they went down and came back up. Not looking good for Southampton, but also Newcastle lost 6 of their past 7 league games. This is going to be a pretty dull affair, isn't it? Let's just get the prediction out of the way, shall we?
I think, assuming that the likes of Vestergaard, Carl Walker-Peters are back, this one's got to go Southampton's way. I also think that when a side takes a big drumming, like a 9-0, we're looking for them to kind of, come back from that. There's no pressure on Southampton, really. They're not really in the relegation chat. Despite that, they've probably fallen just a bit too far behind to be sort of seriously competing for those European places. So I think no pressure, bouncing back from a big defeat. I reckon Southampton will win comfortably, I'm going to say. Let's go for 3-1. 3-1 Southampton with... let's go for Bednarek. I tipped Bednarek to get a 1-0... to score the goal in a 1-0 victory against Man United, and you did get me a goal just at the right end. So let's go for Bednarek to score from a corner, Southampton to win 3-1.
Okay, that's interesting. I've gone completely the other way on this one. I think Southampton are wounded and they're still licking their wounds a bit from United. They won't be able to get that out of their heads. I think Newcastle will take the game to them. If Steve Bruce has got any sense, he will look at this game and go, attack.
Hold on. If Steve Bruce has any sense. Continue, but just focus on that bit.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. If Steve Bruce does have any sense, he will absolutely attack Southampton, surely. And the main man for that is Wilson. I still see it being a close game, but as long as Newcastle actually take it to them, I've gone 1-0, Callum Wilson. To be instrumental. Okay, let's move on then to the 5:30 kickoff at Craven Cottage. Fulham entertain West Ham. New Fulham forward Josh Maja, or Mayer, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, has begun training with the club. Josh Maja. He's begun training and could be involved. Terence Kongolo and Tom Cairney remain sidelined. Scott Parker, no fresh injury problems to worry about though. David Moyes, nothing new after the midweek win over Villa. Arthur Masuaku's a month away still after his knee surgery. Yeah, West Ham looking for a fourth consecutive win over Fulham. Fulham have gone 11 league games without a win, drawn 7, lost 4, the longest current winless streak in the top flight. And they could also, they're looking at losing 5 successive home fixtures in all competitions for the first time since 2013. So getting ready to feel sorry for Scott Parker. Where do you see this one going?
Well, just back to, I think it's Josh Madron. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I believe he was on the books at Millwall. He's a Lewisham lad.
Oh, yeah.
And he sort of rose to national fame a bit in the Sunderland Till I Die documentary because he was doing really well for them. And then they sold him in a big transfer window, broke their hearts and took a big transfer to Bordeaux or a team like that. It was a team in Europe.
Yeah.
Has now come back to England and he's got real talent. Sadly, not enough, I think, to change Fulham's. I think they'll still get relegated. And in this game, Scott Parker going back to welcoming back West Ham. They've been in sensational form, and I can't see anything but a comfortable West Ham win here.
Okay, so what's your prediction then?
Going to go for 3-0 West Ham with Jesse Lingard to feature again.
3-0 West Ham. So, 3-0 West Ham with Jesse Lingard to be the main man. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. I'm also going to say 3-0 West Ham. I think Michael Antonio is going to have a bit more of a role in this one. Surely Thomas Souček can't do it again, right?
He's a great player. I love watching him.
Yeah. Okay, on to the 8 p.m. game then today. Man United host Everton at Old Trafford in the David Moyes derby, unless you can think of a better person.
Nice.
Cavani should be fit, apparently, 75% chance of playing. Also, Paul Pogba likely to return after being rested in midweek. But Eric Bailly is a doubt. Jordan Pickford's not recovered from a rib injury, so Robin Olsen should again be in goal deputising. Alan is back in training after a thigh injury that has kept him out since mid-December, but he probably won't make it into this match. Man United have already beaten Everton twice this season, once in the league, once in the EFL Cup. But both of those came at Goodison Park. Where do you see this one going?
Just sort of two more. The Phil Neville derby and the Marouane Fellaini derby.
Oh, yeah. The Fellaini Cup.
This is a hard one to call.
Oh, we've just had someone watching in the comments. Tim says he reckons 1-0. 1-0 United, I imagine.
Interesting. I think that, considering, how much I rate Man United's defence, we were saying last night about the Ollie Burke goal that he scored for Sheffield United against them, and he sort of almost stood in the same place, and the ball just happened to come to him after Harry Maguire and David Hayes didn't clear it. Sort of stood in the same place and managed to get a goal at Man United there. I think what they're going to do when they're actually playing against a striker that has movement, that has a real sense of where the ball's going to land, that works hard for his goals, has been consistently likened to Filippo Inzaghi this season under Carlo Ancelotti there. I think Man United will score, but I'm going for Everton on this one. I think that
okay.
I'm going to go for let's go for a 2-1 Everton win. Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score. Sorry,
Okay.
Man United fans.
I'm just looking at the comments. Tim's come back to me. I asked him who's going to score that one. He just said Harry. I presume that's Harry Maguire. Or Rashford. Header from free kick. That's what he reckons. So he's saying 1-0. He's saying 1-0 Rashford. What are you saying?
I'm going 2-1 Everton and the one from... why not? Let's go for Slabhead. Maguire to get to one for Man United. It's not his goal scoring that I've got a problem with. It's the fact that it's his leadership and his ability to, clear a ball, be a leader at the back there.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I also think Everton have probably got a bit too much here, and it's not so much about the players on the pitch, but the coaches for me. United did make mincemeat of Everton in the league earlier in the season. They beat them 3-1 at Goodison. But a wily old fox like Ancelotti learns from those kind of games. And I can see Everton making it difficult. Do you know what, actually? I'm going to say 2-2. Because I've got a Man United player as my captain in fantasy, and I don't want to jinx it.
That's fair enough. Is it at Old Trafford, this one?
Yeah, it's at Old Trafford.
So at Old Trafford, then Bruno Fernandes will get a penalty, won't he? So
yeah, exactly. Fernandes. I'm going to say 2-2, and I think Bruno Fernandes will be playing a big part in that game. Okay, let's look at Sunday's games now. Tottenham against West Brom at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kane, Reguilon and Lo Celso all still out. Dele Alli still a doubt with a calf strain. West Brom looking to hand a debut to Ainsley Maitland-Niles and OK Yokuslu, who's now been granted a work permit. Grady Diangana has not featured since early January. His fitness will be assessed ahead of this game. Tottenham looking to complete a first league double over West Brom since 2011-2012. Tottenham suffered 3 successive Premier League defeats for the first time since November 2012. West Brom, on the other hand, have won just one of their past 12 league matches, drawing 3 times and losing 8. 2 teams in pretty dire form here. How do you see this one going?
That surprised me, actually. Tottenham haven't done a double over West Brom since, was it 2012, 2013?
11-12.
Yeah, I mean, I guess West Brom haven't been in the Premier League all that time, but that is surprising. I think Grady Diangana, if he's back, will be a huge. That'll be huge for West Brom. Really dynamic player, lots of energy, and with his performances, you can see he can kind of lift the other players on the pitch, kind of get their heads up and make them really kind of go for it.
Yeah.
Tottenham without Harry Kane, what's happening there? It's astonishing to watch. It's almost like when he's in that side, you've got about 4 or 5 good quality, potentially world-class players. Son Heung-min and Don Bello, who I did think in the second half against Chelsea was a lot better. But you take out one player and everything just kind of falls apart. I
think that's what's known as a linchpin. Literally.
I mean, it's taken Liverpool, the loss of about 7 players for it to finally show. Tottenham, it always seems to be just one.
We'll get on to Liverpool very shortly, and I've got my own opinions on what's going wrong there. But Spurs West Brom.
Surely they have too much quality man for man here. I'm going to go for Spurs to win. Let's go for 1-0.
Ooh,
I think it'll
1-0.
be tight. I think you've got probably the 2 most negative managers in recent Premier League times here. Let's go 1-0 with Son Heung-min to get the goal there.
Okay. I've actually gone for West Brom in this one. I just think that I reckon Big Sam will be earmarking this game. Again, he's looking at, it's kind of what I mentioned earlier about Southampton, Newcastle. Spurs are a bit of a wounded animal. They've not got. I know that kind of phrase is used actually in the other sort of sense of the word. They're so wounded, though. Without Harry Kane's like some sort of awful wound that's happened to them. Harry Kane missing. What am I talking about? Anyway, I reckon West Brom will look to get something out of this, and I think this is a big one for Big Sam. And I've actually predicted a 2-1 to West Brom, and I think Mateus Pereira is the man to watch. He's a very dangerous attacking player. I'm not sure if Spurs can deal with him. So I've gone 2-1 West Brom. I'm sticking my neck out there, but we shall see on tomorrow's episode of EPLW how it all unfolded.
It's good. I think last week we kind of pretty much went for a lot of the same results, and most of them we got horribly wrong. So it's good that we're kind of going for very different results this week against each other.
Yeah.
Because hopefully by tomorrow, at least one of us would be right.
Yeah. Okay. 2:00 then tomorrow. Wolves Leicester. Nuno says several members of his squad are fitness doubts, but he's not saying who they are. Weirdly, the club are already without Rayan Ait-Nouri, Johnny Marcel, and Raul Jimenez, of course, while Roman Saiss remains a doubt. Leicester are boosted by the return of Jamie Vardy, should he start, while Wilfred Ndidi may be back in the side. Still without Castagna, Fofana, and Dennis Pratt. This one is an intriguing one. Leicester have only lost one of the past 7 meetings in League and Cup between the two of them, winning 4, drawing 2. Wolves have just turned the corner maybe with that win over Arsenal. Did they show enough in that game? Who knows? They're looking to record consecutive league wins for only the second time this season. I mean, it's not the Wolves of last season, but maybe it is the Leicester of last season. How do you see this one playing out at Molineux?
Yeah, I think that with everything that's kind of happened this season, it'd be easy to say that Wolves overachieved last season. That it was a kind of, since they'd come up from the Championship, it was that sort of, people hadn't really sussed them out. I think actually they were just outplaying a lot of teams last season. They started this season not really feeling the loss of Diego Jota to Liverpool there. And it wasn't actually until that injury to Raul Jimenez that we mention every time we talk about Wolves that's really just seen them take a massive knock. Similar effect really to Harry Kane at Spurs, it feels. I can only look to Leicester here. Sensational form without Vardy. James Maddison, the likes of Harvey Barnes, James Justin, all kind of getting them through a few kind of difficult games. And if Vardy's back, you know, I would say Leicester without Vardy, probably going to win it. Leicester with Vardy, I'm sure are gonna turn them over. I think it'll be comprehensive. I'm going for 3-0.
Nice. I've actually gone for 4-0. So quite similar prediction there. I mean, if Vardy's back, then you got to expect Vardy to play a part. Even if he comes on as a sub, you can see him kind of adding to whatever Leicester have sort of racked up at that point. But yeah, like you say, the trifecta of Harvey Barnes, of James Maddison, and Vardy together is pretty mouthwatering, really, as good as a trio could be looking at attacking. So I think, I reckon Madders is going to be the guy to look out for in that one. Did you want to earmark a player in that game?
Yeah. Let's actually go for someone that's not in that kind of five factor. James Justin, I think, has been absolutely superb this season. Has been kind of a constant factor with this Leicester side at left back. Actually scored a goal the other day where he sort of was about 4 yards out, rounded the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Being played through by Maddison and knocked it in, which is not what you expect from a left back.
True.
But I think defensively he's been superb going forward, brilliant as well.
Okay, so you're saying 3-0 James Justin, lovely. Okay, that brings us on to the big one, surely the highlight of this week's Premier League fixtures. Liverpool host Man City at Anfield at 4:30 on Sunday. Sadio Mane and Fabinho, slight doubts. Alisson should return in goal, whilst new signing Ozan Kabak is available, although he's probably unlikely to start, we'd say. Pep Guardiola, no new injury concerns, just no Aguero, no De Bruyne, and no Nathan Ake, which you think would affect any other team, not having Aguero and De Bruyne in. But they've won their past 13 games on the spin. Liverpool, on the other hand, have not been doing great recently, have they? Although they have gone 17 top-flight games unbeaten against Man City at Anfield. So it's been a long time since they lost to City at Anfield. What do you see happening in this game?
I think that City will turn them over. I think that whole Man City playing at Anfield thing, it was that intimidation factor. They got each other in Europe, was it 2 years ago? And it was just that cauldron of noise at Anfield, and Liverpool just kind of, Man City really couldn't kind of handle that. I think Anfield without fans is kind of a different proposition. I also think Anfield, after that 4-year unbeaten at Anfield record's been broken, we saw them lose to Burnley, and then the very next game against Brighton, fear factor was lost. Probably as much in the Liverpool players' heads as whoever their opposition are. I think City have been playing brilliantly. Like you were saying, they haven't been missing Aguero, or, for me, the best attacking midfielder in the world at the moment, Kevin De Bruyne. It's why they always do so well in the League Cup, isn't it? Their sort of reserve team is better than most teams' kind of first teams, so they can always put out a strong cup side. I'm gonna go for 3-0 Man City, based on what I've seen recently. Just how out of ideas Liverpool looked against Brighton, and just sort of, it was like they were hitting their head against a wall, just constantly trying to go for the same thing. That was never going to work. I think their confidence is low. City's confidence is high. So yeah, City, 3-0 off me.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know if you've seen the most recent video on YouTube from Tifo Football. Well, I'm not sure if it's the most recent, but there was one about Liverpool without Virgil van Dijk. And there's some really interesting tactical stuff in there about how not having Van Dijk at the back has really affected the whole thing. It's almost like a tower of cards. Do you know what I mean? And you take Van Dijk out and it just all collapses. It really affected so much, from the likes of Alexander-Arnold's ability to move forward, Henderson's ability to drop and cover, because he's in centre-back now. It looks like he can't provide that covering role, which gives the wing-backs less freedom. Van Dijk also offers the long ball option, which, I mean, that no one else can really do. Thiago's trying to do it from further up the pitch. That long ball isn't there for Mane and for Salah. As a result, Firmino is sort of shouldered with the burden of goal scoring, which, let's be honest, Firmino's a fantastic player, but he's not a natural finisher. He's more of a false nine and looks to link play. So with that in mind, I'm inclined to agree with you that Man City will turn it over, but I think we've seen a more careful Man City recently, and I think this is a game that neither team will want to lose. So I am, against my better judgment and against the spirit of football and EPLW, I'm going to say 0-0.
It's not a bad shout. I was so happy when that Tifo Football video came out. I think Tifo Football's really, for me, the best tactical analysis channel on YouTube at the moment.
Absolutely.
Really insightful stuff. And when they mentioned, if our viewers kind of look back in the archives, the dusty archives of EPLW, I did actually make a couple of those points with Van Dijk a few weeks ago about Trent Alexander.
Yes,
Arnold,
you did, yeah.
And fullbacks not kind of getting up as much. The fact they're losing midfielders from reliable players having to drop into that back line. I mean, Liverpool have lost 7 starters, really, or at least, if Mane and Firmino are doubts, they've also lost Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Joe Matip, and then they're losing players in midfield by having to drop Henderson, the likes of Fabinho, who's out as well. I really can't look past Man City in this one.
So you reckon Man City are going to make it 14 wins on the spin? And who's going to be the pivotal figure in that? Is it going to be Ilkay Gundogan? Is it going to be Raheem Sterling? Is it going to be Gabriel Jesus?
I know you're trying to move on really quickly, but can you just, Ilkay?
Look, leave me alone, right? Last night was... I had an awful night's sleep last night because of the complete verbal diarrhea I had around this certain Man City player's name. I'm going to say it again, and this is how I pronounce it from now on. If I'm wrong, please tell me. If you're watching and you can tell me a proper pronunciation, please send us a voice note or something. Ilkay Gundogan. What do you...
Okay.
What? How should I say it?
I'm not. I think it's Ikai Gundogan.
Gundogan. But they're both G's, aren't they? I don't know how to say it. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm literally in an EPLW first. I'm literally going to Google pronounce. I don't know why we should have looked this up, shouldn't we? Pronounce this.
Definitely Ikai.
Hang on.
Gundogan.
Gundogan.
Oh yeah, that's like an English. That's an English
British pronunciation. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Oh, it's sunny, isn't it?
I'll ask my Turkish mate. Mete.
Okay.
I'll get him in tomorrow's episode to send me a voice note.
Yes.
And we'll see the definitive German, Turkish. Well, it's Turkish. It's a Turkish name.
Yeah. Wow, it's so sunny. The sun has really come down on me here. Right. Okay. So let's move on from this. We're going to go to the penultimate game of the game week. Sheffield United host Chelsea at Bramall Lane, 7:15 on Sunday. Sheffield United without Ethan Ampadu, who's ineligible to face Chelsea, his parent club. George Baldock, who suffered a hamstring injury on Tuesday, is being assessed, but Ben Osborne is available, and Ender Stevens could also return. Thiago Silva's a major doubt for Chelsea because of the thigh strain he got against Spurs. Kurt Zouma and Kai Havertz are also being monitored, having suffered injuries in training. Sheffield United have won 3 of the 4 Premier League meetings between these two teams at Bramall Lane, including by 3-0 in last season's corresponding fixture. There have been 32 goals scored in the 9 previous Premier League encounters between these two. Sheffield United hitting a little streak of form at the moment. Won 5 of their past 7 games in all competitions. But surely Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel have got too much for Sheffield United in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the wins there were against West Brom, was one of them, the Billy Sharp winner. Fulham, they beat Fulham. And Man United, who we won't really consider a big team either. So, you know, the way that Chelsea are playing under Thomas Tuchel, starving the team of the ball, and just really exciting to watch, stretching the opposition, keeping possession. Yeah, I'm going to go for like another 3-0, actually. I think Chelsea will absolutely batter them.
Yeah, I've gone 3-0 myself. I think, you can't really see past Tuchel just, suffocating. And I think you've got to look at those wing positions as well, the likes of Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, even Azpilicueta and Alonso providing that width and the experience they bring. I'm saying 3-0. I think the pivotal man in this one, I'm going to say it again, I said it last week, Timo Werner. I think he starts. I think he
was better.
Yeah.
He was better last week, or the last game.
Yeah.
I think you're bang on with the wide positions there. Hudson-Odoi being a real outlet for them. He's the guy that I want to kind of put forward to feature in that win. But also the likes of Reece James.
Okay.
Azpilicueta has kind of been playing as a centre half in that 3, but still supplying width as your right back kind of gets further up the pitch. Reece James, Marcus Alonso, Callum Hudson-Odoi. They're the players I'm kind of earmarking to feature heavily.
Yeah, suddenly those youngsters are looking a lot more promising than they did under Frank Lampard.
Funny, isn't it? You're looking at the way that Chelsea have been performing recently, and all the media are going, "Oh, they've actually got some really good players. This actually is probably a top 4 side." You know, of course they have good players. You know, and yet the same people are saying that Frank Lampard had it really tough with all these players. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Okay, let's get on to our last game of the game week then. Monday Night Football, Leeds United hosting Crystal Palace, 8 p.m. kickoff at Elland Road. Palace beat Leeds 4-1 in the reverse fixture, but these teams go into this game with a very similar record. Leeds played 29 points. Crystal Palace played 29 points. Leeds are 11th, Crystal Palace 13th. Rodrigo is doubtful. Robin Koch still out, as is Diego Llorente. Palace probably without Zaha. amongst all their other injuries at the moment. How do you see this one going? I have gone for, what did I go for? 3-0 leads, and I think Bamford will feature heavily in that victory.
Good shout. Yeah, I think that for as solid as Roy's Palace can be, Leeds can be dynamite going forward. They can't defend for anything, but I think that going forward, we're looking at the likes of Jack Harrison this week. We're looking at the likes of Pat Bamford, as you said, Rafinha. Players like that, I think will feature. And I'm going to go for 3-1, because only a fool goes for a Leeds clean sheet.
What do you know? What you managed to get through that whole prediction without mentioning Bielsa or slagging anyone off? Like, you did really well there. Well done, mate.
Thank you. It pains me to say anything positive about them. So I'm glad you're appreciating.
I was looking at something else on my screen. We had some comments coming in on the YouTube chat. But yeah, I imagine your face was it through gritted teeth, or were you smiling your way through that one?
I was, you know what? I was just happy that, you know, it's on a Monday night and I've already planned what film I'm going to watch instead. You know, I'm just going to Monday night football with Leeds and Bielsa. Like, the media get them in when they're not even the featured game. There was an Everton Villa game or something towards the beginning of the season on BT Sport, and it was about an hour before kickoff, and he spent the first like 45 minutes talking about Leeds, and they weren't even playing. It's like, oh, it's just so dull. So the idea of a full Monday night football show just about them.
I can't wait to see Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, you know, arguing over their favourite Bielsa moments and spending a good 4 hours talking about Bielsa's attacking prowess. Anyway, look, let's not get stuck in a Bielsa hole.
Get me started,
you are watching EPLW's game week preview with myself, Joe, and Roz here. We've just gone through all the fixtures. I'll run you through them all again now with our predictions, and you can join us tomorrow night on EPLW Sunday Review, when we'll be joined by Matt and Mercer. We're going to go through all of these fixtures and dissect them. So going through today's games first, Villa host Arsenal at 12:30, soon after this finishes. Roz said 3-2 Villa. I said 3-1 Arsenal. Burnley Brighton. Roz said Brighton to win 1-0. I said Burnley to win 1-0. Newcastle Southampton. Roz said Southampton to win 3-1. I said Newcastle to win 1-0. Fulham West Ham. We both said 3-0 to the Hammers. Sunday's games. Man United Everton. Roz said 2-1 to Everton. I said 2-2. Spurs West Brom. Roz said a Spurs 1-0 win. I said West Brom 2-1 win. Wolves Leicester, we both went comprehensive Leicester win. Roz saying 3-0, me saying 4-0. Liverpool Man City, Roz said 3-0 to Man City. I predicted a glamorous 0-0 there. Sheffield United Chelsea, we both said 3-0 to Chelsea. And Leeds Palace on Monday night, Roz said 3-1. I said 3-0. We both said, well, I certainly said Patrick Bamford would be a big part of that. And if you've got Bamford in your fantasy team, it would be a good shout to have him as your captain, I think, this week. Just my 2 cents. Remember, you can join us every week for this preview show where we have a little cup of coffee and talk through the game week. Friday nights are for fantasy. And yeah, you know, you can join us on Sundays for the kind of review show, the weekly review show, where we have a full complement of people. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe, and press the notification button as well, so you never miss when we go live. And that's about it, Roz. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. Just a shout out to Mighty Millwall for, I'm sure we're going to get a glorious 0-0 victory against Sheffield Wednesday today. So can't wait for that.
I'd love to say best of luck, but I don't care. Have a good one.
See you, mate.
See you next time, mate. Cheers. Thanks for watching, people. Bye.